Hello, everyone, and welcome to the RealClear Politics Takeaway for Tuesday, October 26th. I'm Tom Bevan, co-founder and president of RealClear Politics, joined today by Phil Wegmann, our White House reporter. Phil, great to have you.
Thanks for having me, Tom.
So you just got back from a press briefing at the White House. Jake Sullivan, National Security Advisor, briefed reporters on the president's big upcoming trip to Glasgow. What did he have to say about what the administration hopes to accomplish there?
The big point that Jake tried to get across was that despite the recent hiccup in Afghanistan, namely that country going to hell in a handbasket, that the United States and Europe remain hand in glove when it comes to the global agenda, words that he used on climate change. He also noted that the president believes that it is possible to pursue these goals on the climate, reducing emissions, and also at the same time advance a robust and growing economy here in the United States. The question, though, is while the president is going to be going over to the G20 and then the Glasgow summit, and he's going to be discussing climate, the question is, how seriously are these European leaders going to be taking him? Certainly, they like him a lot more than the last guy, but on the issue of climate, this administration does not have an infrastructure deal in place. That's still bogged down in Congress right now. And so a lot of his climate agenda is to be determined. That was the big question. How can foreign counterparts take him seriously when he doesn't have a lot to show for it?
So on that question, because the administration is racing to try and get a deal done out of Congress for both of these pieces of legislation before he leaves town. But it seems like the infrastructure package, particularly not the hard infrastructure package, but the soft infrastructure package, as that's what we're calling it, is being sort of dramatically scaled down, including the climate piece. So what exactly is he going to potentially get to take with him overseas?
Yeah, we're going to find out. And it's really interesting that you mentioned that sentiment. And the reason I say that is there are a lot of voters who in 2020, a lot of very progressive voters who probably favored a candidate like Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren, who essentially held their nose and voted for Joe Biden for a number of different policy reasons. They said, we would prefer if you would do X, Y, and Z, but at the end of the day, our biggest priority is beating Donald Trump. What then is this White House's message to them when some of these preferred policy priorities are being left on the chopping block? Well, Jen Psaki sort of answered that generally when she said to those voters, would you like to be part of something or would you like to be part of nothing? And we're going to figure out what makes the final cut, because while we're talking about these infrastructure packages, lawmakers are not having the most principled of discussions. Instead, they're having a larger debate over a top line number, and then they're trying to figure out how much they can backload in there in terms of policy. And it's coming down in many cases to old-fashioned log rolling and parochial interests. Nowhere is that more severe than on the question of climate change, where you've got Joe Manchin, surprise, surprise, opposing some of this spending, and folks like Bernie Sanders and others saying, come on, it's time for you to get on board.
Last question, Phil. What are the odds that this deal is going to get done? Nancy Pelosi was on a Sunday show the other day saying they're 90% there. It seems like, Joe Manchin was in Delaware working with Joe Biden. It seems like they're inching towards a deal, but just how close are they? And what are the odds they're going to get something done by the end of the week?
My sense is that this administration is trying to be very optimistic when they have discussions with the public, because who knows what could happen. Perhaps Manchin and Sinema could have a sudden change of heart. Certainly, Joe Biden has been bringing all of his charm and experience from the Senate to bear in negotiations with the two of them. But whether or not it actually gets done this week, that remains to be seen. I think the White House answers this question by saying that, hey, if a deal is reached and the president isn't in the United States, well, he's got a phone and a pen on Air Force One, and he's willing to sign the legislation into law. But this has already proved to be a very, very, very long infrastructure week. It wouldn't surprise me if something doesn't make it to his desk until he returns from these two summits.
All right, we will have to leave it there. For Phil Wegmann, our White House reporter, I'm Tom Bevan, co-founder and president of RealClear Politics, and this has been the RCP Takeaway for Tuesday, October 26th.